Hello and welcome back to the next video in the Creative Christmas series, and today we are going to be making felt Santas. Now with this project, when I was coming up with different ideas and kind of brainstorming let me put that over here, what I wanted to do for the next project, I couldn't help to think about these cute little Santas that I made. This one I just made as a way to change up the beard, but I'll go into that in just a moment. But basically I made these, gosh, my son is 21 now, so I would have made these I'm gonna say 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, it seems like it wasn't that long ago. But he was a little guy, and I was lucky enough to be able to stay at home with him for the first few years, and so I was a crafting fanatic at that time. I scrapbooked, I was up to date, I crafted everything, and so I really wanted to make some Santas. I made it an advent calendar. It was just so much fun. But I made these little guys because, of course, I know this bell wouldn't have been safe for him, but, you know, they were just fun. And so, now when I went to go find the white beard, which I know this guy's a little crazy, this was always purchased it in the doll section, and I found some online, but I thought, you know, let's do something that's easy and accessible for everyone. So I decided to go with felt. But on another note, I gave these to my sister too because she has a bunch of felt ornaments on her tree, and so they just last. I mean, they're fun, they're cute, they're handmade, and they also make great little gifts to put on gifts, like little tags. But I wanted to do, this year has been a year of nostalgia for me, so I created this one, that I'm going to put the face on and everything, but I'm going to actually put it in my journal, my Christmas journal. So, I don't know how oh, here it is. I knew I put it up here because I wanted to show you guys. So what I'm probably going to do with this one is, once I do adding the face and all the fun things, I'm going to actually add, like, him to my journal and then tell the story about these little guys. So I always like to include some stories from Christmas past in my journal, and then I also, in my December daily journal, and then I also like to do like a family. So I have another one that, you know, an old family photo. So let's go ahead and get started. So with this, on my blog, I have this printable, and this is kind of just a guide to kind of put the star shape. It has the Santa face and the Santa beard. Now, the beard, once I got into it, I kind of adjusted it because one side was a little bit bigger, but I think on here, I think that was just me cutting. I don't think, when I look at the picture, it doesn't show one side's real skinny. I think my scissors just kind of, you know, did that kind of thing. So once you get your stars out, I'm going to kind of talk about how to do both of these. So if you're going to do one that you're just going to put in your journal and you're just going to have it flat like this, you only need 1 star. And of course, if you're going to do the puffy little ornament, you're going to need 2 stars. So the project takes felt. So basically, I started this one right here. I made this one last night, and I started this one for my journal, and then I kind of went through the process of doing this. So basically, I use embroidery thread, which is this, and you can take it, and depending on how, I use the whole entire thing, because I'm not, let's just put it out there, I'm not a good sewer. I'm not a accurate sewer, I'm not neat. I just love, but I love the, I personally love that look of, probably because that's all I can do, but of the wonkiness and the fun. And again, you know, I really wanted this to be like no pressure at all to make anything perfect. It's just having fun and getting creative. So, so with that being said, I did not do a blanket stitch, which I know there is a blanket stitch out there. I basically took this and I did like it's almost like a running stitch, but it's actually adhering these two together. So I start out, basically when you start out your star, if you're doing a double-sided, you want to put your needle on the inside. You want to tie a knot, right? And I'm sure most everybody understands. I don't know. I'm going to go like you have never sewn in your entire life when I explain this, because I don't know the level of everybody's sewing ability. So you thread your needle through, right? And you leave a little bit hanging. So basically it's kind of like you're holding your needle in place with that. I tie a knot, like a simple knot in the back. And if you're sewing the two together, you're going to want to start with this one first up like that, and you're going to want to go in. Meaning the reason you're not going to start on the outside is because you don't want that knot showing, and you're going to tuck that in to your two pieces right there. So you start out, say you start out and you go in like this, right? So you can see my little knot inside where I began a little bit there. There it is. But what I did is once you got your needle in, so like this, then you're going to go to the outside of the other one. And again, you might want to use some pins to pin these together to keep it straight. I just use my whole hand, kind of the thing with felt, it's so easy to work with because it does kind of hold its shape. You're going to take your needle and you're just going to go on the outside of it and push your needle through both pieces of material, both pieces of felt, and then you're just going to pull it through. And sometimes it wants to, and that's the other thing, the longer the string, the more it is inclined to get in a knot. So I would just kind of like keep this other piece kind of long, and then as you use up your thread, you know, then you can kind of release that that out as you need it. Pull it out. And there you have it. You just do the other one, you do the same thing, and you go around. There is a fancy stitch called the blanket stitch, which I love, but I've never really have done that before, and so I'm not, I just do this basic sewing the two pieces together. Very basic. So once you get to the where you're going to have the opening here, then this is where I would stuff my stuffing. Now with this guy, I put his face on after the fact, which was a little bit of a challenge. Not that big of a challenge, but in my personal opinion, I would put the face on prior to stuffing. So with his face, I basically used glue. And that's the other thing. If you don't want to stitch this, or if you just want to stitch the outside, you can definitely just use your fabric glue. I know I have another one. I have, here we go. This one I was fighting with because it's almost empty. But I use this fabric glue, and actually you could use, I know on these guys, on the original, wherever I put those, on the original, these, I used hot glue. I mean, and this hot glue lasted. And I probably used my hot glue gun, so you can use a glue gun on this. You do not have to use fabric glue, but it works just as well too. I'm just going to take this lid off here. Because I think, now, for this one, if you want to, yeah, it's sticky. That Fabric Fix is definitely sticky. So if you want to, basically, this one I stitched, okay? So I stitched the beard, but I'm going to come in and tack it down once I go to put it into my, but see, I just used a stitch along here. Look how messy that is. See, it's nothing fancy at all. But yeah, so I'm probably going to use some fabric glue when I go to actually adhere that to my paper. And actually, I'm going to put the eyeballs on it and everything like that. So I think I'm going to do the fabric glue on here as well. But like I said, you can definitely stitch it on there. So this is the face after you cut it out. I used like a cream color felt, and then I just used the white beard. So I'm just going to go ahead and, since I am working on him, I'm just going to add the glue to the back of here. Oh yeah, this is so much better. fighting with that other one when I was making it. making it. And this stuff actually does pretty much, does dry pretty fast. And of course hot glue would definitely do the trick too. And I'm just going to adhere this guy here. That's my phone. I'm supposed to call my son because he's got an ear appointment this morning. So let me go catch that. Alright, so I'm going to have to call him back here in a minute because he's not answering the phone. Yes, he is in college, but he made himself a very early ear appointment, and which I don't know why, but I bet that's all he could get into, and I know him. He sleeps like a log. So, okay. So, once we, oh, you know what? Okay. I forgot about the beard taking over the belt area. So let's go ahead and cut out the belt, and then we're going to cut out the brim of the hat. So the belt, which, I wonder if it's not too late. Okay, no, it's not too late. We're going to add the belt right here, and actually you could trim your beard a little bit. Let's do that. We're just going to round it out. Just give him a little haircut here. A beard cut. There we go. And then we're going to add the belt under here. So let's go ahead and just put some fabric glue on there. Oops. And on the belt, you can put either, I've done buttons and bells. Bells are kind of fun because they jingle, but I like the buttons too. Okay. So we're going to let that dry. And then we're going to take a piece of white felt, and we're going to make the brim of the hat. Oops. These are just strips. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Now before I adhere this one, I'm going to go ahead and work. Let me get this stitch up above that because I don't want to interfere with the stitching. Now the reason I'm keeping it open is because we're going to stuff it, and so I want to make sure that I have a gap to be able to stuff it. Okay. Okay. Trim that up a little bit. Now I use my little googly eyes. I think those are fun. And I use pom-poms for the, now with this I've done big and small eyes. I think this guy has little eyes and then this guy has big eyes. And so it's up to you, whatever size. I did a bigger size on that one, which I'll probably do the bigger size on these two. It looks like the Cookie Monster. I was just going to see. I think I might do a smaller one on the one I'm going to put in my journal because I'll tell you why in a minute is I love a fluffy journal, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I'll add my hold on just one second. I don't know if I'll add my I know it's going to interfere with the writing, and so I may add my Santa. I may write everything and then just leave a space and then add my Santa at the very end of my journal. So that way I don't create that puffiness in there where it kind of creates an issue with writing. So we added his little eyes, and then I used some pom-poms. I used like a fairly small one, but not the smallest, to create his nose. And again, on these you can see I did a small one here, and then a larger one here. There we go. Still, he's so cute. Okay, let's go ahead and add, this guy's to his face. With the pom-pom, I actually did stitch that pom-pom on. But I used the teeniest, tiniest pom-pom. Actually, I cut one in half. It doesn't work. So, oh, that's so cute, the little ones. Of course, it leaves his face kind of big, but I'm okay with that. Ta-da! And we'll add the pom-pom on the hanging one at the very end. I'm going to kind of go ahead and add some glue under here, under his belt, to go ahead and get that glued into place, and then add some glue on his beard to add that into place, and then that way that can get to drying, because I want to make him flat since he's going to be going into my journal. Okay, so let's get that dried, and then we'll come back and stuff this little Santa. Alright, so after you, I already started stuffing this guy because I knew that I didn't want to sit there and take forever with me stuffing him. But basically you get the filler stuff. This is that, comes in a huge bag. I mean, it's huge. Fiber fill. And so basically I kind of just ball mine up a little bit, and I just kind of shove it down in that hole. And then most of them come with this little stick, but you could also use like a chopstick or even a pencil or something. You could, and that's just to shove the fiber fill down into the corners of your Santa. And then I kind of just squish him around to make sure there's, you know, evenly spread there. And then once you do that, then we're going to sew him up. Now, what I noticed is, like, especially like where I have put the little piece of his hat, I'm just going to come in here, and since I already have my needle there, I'm just going to come in and kind of sew that corner there. Now you could trim it. Maybe I might be able to do that. Let's see here. This glue might have been a little strong, but I'm trying to see. So I just kind of cut the corners on that. Maybe that's what I'll do with this one. That glue kind of makes it a little hard to get in there. So I'm just going to slice that corner off to where it creates that more of that star look. So I'm just going to go around here real quickly and sew his little hat together. See how quick this is? You can make up a bunch of these little guys. Easy peasy, as my great niece would say. And then once you get around to the other side, we're going to put a pom-pom on the top, but we're going to want to add a little bit more stuffing into his hat area before I get it to where I can't fit any more stuffing in there. So I'm just going to get a little teeny tiny piece here and ball it up. See if I can fit it into that opening here. Kind of almost made it too small. There we go. Maybe not. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of fluff into his hat. Okay. And then get my needle. Oh no, you know what we forgot to do? Eek! Okay, we forgot to put I forgot to put the little tag in there. Okay, that's okay. We can fix this, no problem. So for the hanging, I selected twine. You can do, here's some more twine. You could do some color twine. You could do some rope twine. You could do yarn. You could do ribbon. It's strictly up to what you want to do. So what I do is I tie a knot however long I want my hanging hanger to be. I'm just going to trim this off the edges here. And I typically, okay, so let me back up a little bit here. I'm gonna come back. Let me take all this stitching out, and then we'll back up a little bit here. Sorry about that, you guys. So typically, what I do, you don't have to take all this stitching out. I'm just using, the end of my needle to kind of pull that material out. Try not to knot it up. Oh, I'm making a mess, aren't I? Okay. Oh, I said easy peasy. Boy, this is, I think that's part of any process, is you're going to have steps that you got to remember to do. And if you don't, you got to fix them. And fixing is not always the easiest thing. Okay. I think there's a knot in here. I'm going to just trim that edge off since I'm having to undo this. I don't want to keep creating it unravels. So, okay. So what I'm going to do is, say for instance, you did not forget, right? Golly, I made a mess of this. I'm going to go ahead and rethread my needle here. And that way I have that ready to go. And I personally, when I'm buying needles, I typically do not use embroidery needles. I use a really thick needle because I want my eyelet really big, because I like to be able to just quickly thread it. Okay, so you got your knot in here for your hanging, and I'm just gonna put that in there where it comes out on both sides of the hat. So just like this one, we're gonna just basically sew that piece inside the hat. And you would have done this before you finished up your hat, but so I'm just gonna come around here. I don't know why my thread just decided to get all unravelly. And act up. It was doing perfectly fine there. I don't know what this one's doing either. Seems like I'm just trying to straighten my thread out here a little bit. Thank you for your patience. Okay, we got that piece out. So I'm just gonna basically sew around that hanger. Why? I'm really having some issues with my yarn now. Okay. Okay. So now if you were gluing it, you would put it in there and then just glue down this tip of this hat here like that. So see, we got him stuck in there now. We're just gonna finish wrapping this hat up. Now when you get to the point of the hat, it's kind of tricky because I just go on the other side. But keep in mind we're going to put a pom-pom there, so any kind of, it's going to cover up any, whoops. And then I'm just going to go on the other side of that hanging and do my final stitch. Actually, let's do one more stitch in there. But see how my stitches are super wonky, and I'm okay with that. But if you like, if you can do your blanket stitch and do, you know, if you're familiar with stitching, then to finalize it, you have your loop there. I'm going to run my needle back through that loop, and then it's going to create like a knot. And I do that a couple of times just to make sure that it doesn't come undone. And that creates a knot, and then you can cut your thread off with your needle like that. Ta-da! We did it! We did it! We did it! We did it. Okay, and then you can actually cut that excess thread off a little bit here. Yippee! Okay, let's add the pom-pom to the top of his little hat. And this is where you can get creative too. You can do a different color. Now, as an embellisher, you can do anything. Like, I'm going to do a red one, I think. I know. Look how cute. All red. This one has a green one. But you could actually embellish around his, the twine. You could put like ribbon, you could put tulle, endless possibilities, endless. You know, you could even, if you planned ahead, you could add beads along there before you put it on there. But I'm going to leave this just like, oh, one last thing, we got to pick a button for his belly. Or if you wanted to add a bell, we could do that. Now with a bell, I probably would have added, or snowflake. Look how cute that would be. I would probably have, you could, like with a bell, I mean, I used, on this one, I literally used hot glue. I know I did because it's, I looked at that earlier, and it has stayed. But you could also sew it on to, like if I was going to do the snowflake, since it has that special button on the end there like that, I could have sewn that on. But since he's all red, maybe a green button would look better. I think that's what I'll do. Let's see if I can find one a little bit more brighter green. There we go. You know, I found this in my little, I have a huge suitcase that I put all my Christmas stuff in, and that was in there. It had never been opened. And so I thought, wow, that's awesome that I found that package of buttons. I'm just going to put a button on his belly like that. May need to be held down a little bit. So while let me think about him while we're holding this button down on this guy. I do want to, I think I'm going to sew this button on him. This one's more flat too, than one that has like a, what's this one? Oh yeah, a gift. A gift is cute too, right? Kind of like that one, even though it's thicker than what I wanted to do with. I was just saying, oh, I like oh, that one's cute. I like that one too. So I think I'm going to do that one. And I think I'm going to sew this one on since I sewed all of the rest of him. Let's see, is this thing sticking? Yeah, so I'm just going to set that little guy aside. And I wonder if I can thread this twine in that needle. Might be kind of tricky because I'm going to do a little something. Let's try that one since we're here. we can try the twine. And you know, actually, it may be too thick for this, but let's give it a roll and see if I can. There is a way, who showed me? Cassie Stevens. I always call her my crazy art teacher. She showed a way to easily thread. You take a piece of paper. Let's see if I can find a piece of paper handy. Oops, other than spreading pom-poms everywhere. Now, we all know I have paper. She said you take it and you fold it, right? Let's see if I can try this. You kind of like a banana, or like she said, like a hot dog or something. Let me cut that back a little bit. Maybe that, like you make like a bun, a hot dog bun, where it's a point, and then you can thread it through your needle. But this stuff is pretty thick, so I don't know if that would work. I don't think this part's gonna work because it's such a, that twine is so thick. Let me just cut that end off, flatten it as flat as I can get it, and see. I think it's too thick. So let's try a different, oh my goodness, you guys. Making a mess. Where's my twine? I know I just showed you guys the twine. Oh, here we go. Okay, so let's try her method without the twine being so thick. Okay, here's my little hot dog bun, right? So I'm going to cut another edge on that. And then we're going to take the embroidery thread and put it in here. Fold it up. And then stick it in there. Oh, you know what? Maybe you have to make it a little bit where it sticks out, because you got to be able to pull it. She teaches kids, so I mean, if we can do this, if I'm doing it correctly, that's the trick. Ah, looky there, and then you pull your paper out. She is so smart. That is pretty easy. It just doesn't work with really thick embroidery, really thick twine. Okay. So what I want to do is create like I want to do like a thread where it's kind of, I don't want to make it just flat. Well, we've been talking about making it flat this whole time. But I want to make it where I tie the end. So I'm just going to push that through and leave a little hanging, and then come through on this side. I'm going to hold that thread because I'm going to tie the thread instead of making it, and I'm going to come up through the back side, come up through my button. Whoops. Take my needle out. And then I'm going to tie the button on here. If you wanted to just sew it, you could just sew the button on. But I'm going to tie, give it a little bit more pizzazz, something different. I'm going to tie it one more time just for good measure. And then get something a little different. That's so cute. Okay, So you guys, this is such a fun little project. I love this project. I still love it. Alright, you guys, so there you have it, felt Santas. I can't wait to see what you guys do. Have fun, embellish, create. These things can be so fun. You can do different colors. I have, like I said, I did a gray and pink one. You could, I think even kids could do this project, so that could be a fun little project for them as well. Alright, you guys, thanks for watching.